Well, look who's here, former Michigan GOP gubernatorial candidate Tudor Dixon. Tudor, we've been really impressed, a big fan of yours for a long time. Tudor, what are you going to, you're in Milwaukee, what are you going to be looking for in the debates tonight?
I want to hear what people's plan is for the country, what they're going to tell us they're going to do. Listen, I'm a mom of 4 kids. I just went out and got school supplies for the year, and it cost me $500 for 4 children. I think every mom is in the same position as me, saying, what are you going to do to get the economy back on track? We had the best economy we'd had in decades, and now we're looking at the worst economy, especially in Michigan right now. We've got to get help on that, and I think that's the #1 thing. People out there are wondering what they're going to say, but national security is a big issue, certainly making sure the border is secure and getting drugs off of the streets.
So what are they saying in Milwaukee about Biden's border crisis and in Michigan?
Well, I mean, people are shocked. No other country in the world allows themselves to have an open border like this. I mean, I've been back and forth to New York, where I've actually been stopped by migrants in the street and asked to buy them meals because there are so many people. It's so overwhelming, and there are no supplies. There are not enough supplies to meet the demand of a bunch of people coming in who don't have jobs and have no money. Certainly, people in Michigan are starting to feel this as well. We're seeing it even in the suburbs of Chicago. As we were driving up, we're hearing about stories in the suburbs of Chicago where they're pushing them out of the city now and they're going into the suburbs. Certainly people across the country are concerned about what this means for their towns, but also when their taxes are rising to go to pay for people who have no jobs and have no money in this country.
You know, we've got a sound from, we want your reaction to New York City Mayor Eric Adams on this, what you're talking about. Let's listen to New York City Mayor Adams. Watch this.
Is this a sign of progress, or does this speak to the humanitarian crisis your city is facing?
This is not a sign of progress. This is a sign of a crisis, greatest, I believe, humanitarian crisis this city has ever witnessed.
The greatest ever witnessed. What do you think, Tudor?
I think this is a man who said he was a sanctuary city. He was all for this until he actually saw the effects. And that's the key here, is once you see the effects of having a massive amount of people come into your city and no resources for them, the reality strikes. We just cannot handle an open border. No other country does it. It's absurd and it's dangerous.
You know what's interesting, Tudor? The border, again, as you point out, a big issue for voters. Texas is fighting with Biden's Justice Department in court because Texas deployed floating barriers, these water buoys. Texas says they're necessary to enforce the state's constitutional right to border security. 2.3 million border encounters so far this year. The DOJ says it is harming the relationship with Mexico. But we know that Mexico is not doing enough to stop the crisis at the U.S. border. What do you think?
I think if you're in Governor Abbott's position, you know you have got to do something to protect the people in your towns. We're hearing about schools that are constantly under alert because people are coming through the yards, the schoolyards, and they're just pouring across the border. Our kids are not safe, but it's not just our kids that are not safe. It's the children that are crossing the border that are not safe. And if there's any type of barrier that our governors can put up, I say I cheer them on for that, because they are thinking creatively, they're thinking outside of the box, and they're doing the job that Joe Biden won't.
Tudor, final word, final question. You know how soccer moms, suburban moms are a big factor in elections? How do they feel now, do you think, about crime and Biden's border crisis? Final word.
It's devastating to be worried about whether or not your children can play on the playground of the school. Like I said, those border towns, they're concerned every day that their kids are not safe. It's devastating, and I absolutely think our candidates should be talking about it.
Tudor Dixon, come back soon. We love having you on the show. It's good to have you on. Thanks for joining us.